Under 3 of your chairs, there's an envelope. In a second, if you find one, I'd love to invite you to come on stage and share one thing that you want to do that you think is completely delusional. I'm only joking. There are no envelopes. But notice what your body just did. Your heart rate spiked. Your chest tightened. That's your body's threat response kicking in. The circuitry that flares up when you fear being judged or rejected. But here's the dangerous part. That exact reaction is the reason why so many dreams die before they even start. For me, this lesson began in summer 2024, in my grandparents' house in the Czech Republic, the place I'd spent every summer of my childhood. My grandpa lived as though everything was worth trying. Every day was some kind of experiment, building rafts, fishing with our bare hands, inventing games out of nothing. But this summer felt different. He was quieter, slower, and I could feel that unspoken urgency, like he was trying to pass everything on before it was too late. One evening, on the porch, he asked me to promise him something, that I would seize every opportunity life had to offer, regardless of the fears I had. So that night, I ran upstairs, grabbed a notepad, and wrote a list titled, "What I Would Do If I Woke Up With No Fears." My top 3 were start a social media business, learn to dance, and speak to a stranger every day. Every single one of those absolutely terrified me. At first, I thought my biggest fear was failure itself. But upon reflection, I realized it was being judged for trying or being judged for failing that really scared me. So ultimately, I feared rejection from others. So my grandpa's words became even more precious when, a month later, he very sadly passed away. And though he was gone, his words stayed with me. And so I knew from this moment onwards, I was going to actively face rejection in order to step out of my comfort zone and ultimately change my life. So I started asking myself, why does rejection hurt so badly? Why does it feel almost physical? So I did what any psychology student would do, and I dug into the science, and what I found was fascinating. A study was conducted where participants played this online ball tossing game. But partway through, the other players stopped throwing the ball to one individual. They were quietly rejected. And when scientists scanned the rejected individual's brains, they found that the same region that processes physical pain, the anterior cingulate cortex, lit up. So our brains have learned to treat rejection like physical pain. And evolutionarily, this makes complete sense. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by your tribe could mean death. No food, no belonging, no protection. So our brains have learned to treat social pain as a survival threat. But here's the crazy part. Your brain actually releases more stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline when you anticipate rejection than when you actually get rejected. So maybe our dreams don't die in rejection, but in the hesitation before taking action. So I decided to stop hesitating. I started small, like asking someone to help me in the gym, or handing a stranger a note on the train just to make their day. And slowly, this built my confidence that I could act, despite the fear. And so I started pushing further, like applying for things I thought I'd get rejected from. And just by talking to strangers, ending up in the most unexpected places, like the Gymshark VIP athlete suites, playing cards with the athletes and having lunch with the CEO, as you do. But my most anxiety-inducing challenge happened when I was solo traveling last year in Italy. Imagine this, a huge square booming with tourists. So naturally, I thought this would be the perfect place to artificially embarrass myself. So I set up my camera and decided I was going to do a handstand in the middle of the square. There was absolutely zero logic behind this decision. I just knew that having hundreds of eyes on me, probably hoping I fail, petrified me. And instead of laughter or judgment, a group of professional photographers approached me and asked for a photo shoot the next day. None of these moments, none of these people would have entered my life if I had hesitated and not taken action. So it was evident that rejection therapy created life-changing opportunities. However, what it taught me next completely changed my perspective on strangers. On my daily park walks, I would see this older man, sat on a bench, struggling to stand up. I wanted to help him, but I was scared he'd reject me or think I'm weird. But one day, I decided to sit next to him and asked him if he needed any help. He smiled and said no, but I'd love a chat. So for the next few weeks, Martin and I talked every morning. He told me about his life and his rheumatoid condition, and how he looked forward to our chats every single day. And that's when it hit me. I almost missed this entire connection because I was afraid of the rejection that never even came. Martin taught me that people aren't as scary as our minds make them out to be. Most aren't just waiting to reject us. Most are searching for that same sense of connection we all crave. So what's incredible is that each time you face potential rejection and resist the urge to flee, the rational parts of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, sends a signal to your fear system, the amygdala, to dampen the threat response. So you increasingly feel a sense of calm in situations that used to elicit panic. That's neuroplasticity in action, your brain adapting, strengthening, and reorganizing itself based on your experiences. So rejection therapy doesn't just shift your mindset. It literally reshapes your brain to prioritize resilience over avoidance. We've all had those moments where we didn't act. You didn't speak up in that room. You didn't apply for that thing. You didn't message that person. And the reality is, rejection doesn't hurt as much as regret does, because rejection gives you clarity, whereas regret just leaves you wondering, what if? So it's been just over a year since I started this rejection therapy course. And since then, I've successfully started my social media business and I've grown it to over 1 million monthly viewers. I've successfully learned to dance and I've gotten addicted to Latin dancing. And I've successfully spoken to at least one stranger every day, and I've created lifelong connections from it. And the scariest challenge of them all, standing here today in front of you all. The truth is, the fear doesn't go away. You just learn how to face it and act regardless. So I'd like to invite you all to try something with me. If you could close your eyes for a moment and visualize this. You are lying on your deathbed. Your breaths are shallow. You know you'll be gone in a matter of moments. You think back to all the times you hesitated, all the words left unsaid, all the dreams left untouched, all the times you said, I'll do it another day. Every single day of your life has passed. And then all of a sudden, the room fills with this bright light. And you're offered one final chance to go back to this very day and live your life from this moment onwards. How will you choose to live it this time around? Because in the end, rejection doesn't end dreams. Hesitation does. Thank you.